Okie dokie. This is a video about a new layer of reactive abuse that I have just uncovered. Being a diagnosed autistic, very sensitive person, as well as I'm a professional psychic. So I have done extensive work psychologically within myself, as well as been in therapy since I was around like 5 or 6. Family scapegoat, everything has been blamed on me, including me being the aggressor. So, but due to current life situations and still being blamed as the aggressor, I have uncovered a new level of understanding of reactive abuse and what is actually going on energetically with that. Right now, I'm so upset. I cannot think of anything to do but put it into physical activity, which is, I'm like literally hiking up and down hills. When you have a very controlling person, this is someone who has to control everything outside of their body, or they think that they're in control of everything outside of their body to their detriment. Some people can, this can go into narcissistic family patterns. These are narcissistic traits. That usually people like me, the empaths, the autistics, the psychics, the one who's dispel the energy for these people, the aggressive energy for these people, get blamed for being the narcissist. The scapegoat gets blamed for everything until the pattern is broken. Until it's actually a very noble role to be the scapegoat in the family. You are literally, once you figure it out and start setting boundaries, you are the jumping off point for other people to heal if they'll do the work. If they will just ignore shit and keep blaming everything on you, then my suggestion is separating yourself from that person until they do. Which unfortunately I have tried to do a couple times. My situation is complicated because I have a child. So the controlling person who doesn't want to look at their own problems, who thinks that their shit doesn't stink and blames everybody else for everything, they partake in what is called reactive abuse. They criticize and push the buttons of who they perceive to be lesser than them. This is important. They perceive this person to be lesser than them. and harbor deep hate and jealousy for the person who they project onto. They push and prod until the sensitive person reacts, which may seem aggressive because the sensitive person is standing up for themselves and their energy being imposed upon. So we know that, right? That's something that everybody knows. So today, what I've realized what the energy manipulation, what is happening. And I'm so thankful for these situations because of figuring this out. Because it's another level of growth. It is another level of understanding. It is another level of alchemy and integration within the self. When the person is partaking in a reactive abuse, pushes the sensitive person, the scapegoat, you know, the empath, whoever they are, they push and prod until the sensitive person reacts, which may be aggressive. Then they blame the person who's reacting for being out of control. They blame them for being the aggressor. They say no adult should act like this. That kind of shit. Which is a form of energy manipulation. So what is going on here is that the empath, the sensitive person, the scapegoat is able to dispel those emotions for the very controlling person. Because very controlling people, they don't let their emotions out. They're like a volcano waiting to erupt. So the very sensitive person is able to dispel those emotions for that person. So they push and they prod and they push and they prod. And then the sensitive person reacts, dispelling those trapped emotions for that controlling person. And then continue the abuse by blaming the reactive person for being the aggressor when really it's them. So that's not all though. There's another layer to it. That is a form of energy manipulation because the controlling person, much like how they impose their will onto their surroundings out of fear, they are also imposing their will onto other people's energy grids, which is a fucking no-no. You do not impose your will energetically onto other people. If you continue to do that once you are conscious, even not being conscious, peace will never come. It will always be toxic and miserable. Maybe not for the blind person who like literally wants to ignore their own existence and their own growth. But for people like me, I can't be around that shit. I can't be around it. And this is something I'm really struggling with right now. So, this video is almost 10 minutes and I want to get it up on TikTok. So, and YouTube. Love you guys. Let me know what you think. Or what your experience is being the sensitive, the scapegoat, the autistic in your family with your needs being ignored and then blamed. How fucked up is that? Your needs being ignored and then blamed for your own needs being ignored. Who's the aggressor? The person whose needs are being ignored? Or the person who's ignoring the needs? It is like basic psychology, basic common sense, basic decency. Reacting to one's needs being ignored is not aggressive. It is standing up for one's energy and one's life and salvation.